I've been taking a certain supplement recently, and I've noticed quite a bit of a positive change, so I wanted to share something for the viewers on this channel. Let's dive into it. Oligomeric Proanthocyanidins, otherwise known as OPCs for short. I prefer to call it OPCs myself. I think some of you might too, but it's not the point. The point is, I've noticed a very interesting positive change in my cognition, how I deal with certain things, and dare I say it, even an increase in efficiency when I need to do something. It doesn't take me as long to dive into a project or task as it used to before. I'm sure a lot of people watching or listening have noticed that when they need to do something, whether it's something let's take something they don't like in this example. When you're going to do something you don't like, get ready to pay a long bill, fill out a form, it's something mundane that isn't stimulating to the ADHD mind. When you gotta do something mundane to stimulate the ADHD mind, it's a little difficult, especially if it's mundane and not stimulating. So, there's a reason for that, which I'll get to later on in the video. It's just a little teaser for the introduction. So, OPCs. Now, for a little definition here, oligomeric proanthocyanidins, otherwise known as OPCs, are the polyphenols, or the dark, rich colors found in plants, fruits, and vegetables. These naturally occurring micronutrients contain antioxidants and are highly concentrated sources of phytochemicals, chemical compounds produced by plants with protective or disease preventive properties. OPCs help power the blue in blueberries, the green in grapes and green tea, and dark chocolate. So, that's pretty interesting how that works. So it's a really strong antioxidant. Now, what is that going to do for those of us with ADHD? So, the brain, in this instance, makes alpha waves, beta waves, and theta waves. So, with alpha waves, those are the type of waves your brain makes when you're meditating or doing yoga. Beta waves are the type of waves your brain makes when you're concentrating. And theta waves are the type of waves your brain makes when you're in light sleep or when you're daydreaming. Now, according to research, people who have ADHD usually have higher levels of theta waves. Theta waves being the type of wave that the brain makes when we're in light sleep, in the light stage of sleep rather, and when we're daydreaming. Now, I don't know about you, but daydreaming seems to be quite common amongst the ADHD community. I know for me it certainly was, and I got in trouble quite a bit when I was younger. Because teachers thought I wasn't paying attention, and they would, bring it to my attention, and yeah, you know the rest of the story. And for those of you who don't, check out some of my other videos. I go in depth into what people with inattentive ADHD have to go through. And it's pretty different. People would assume the 3 different subtypes of ADHD are the same, and they're not. There's some really, really hardcore differences in each. And they vary too amongst individuals. So, continuing on, research has demonstrated that people with ADHD have lower levels of the other 2 types of waves and have higher levels of theta waves. The waves that we get when we're distracted and when we're in the light stage of sleep. So, with that being said, consuming OPCs can really help out with that. It can help decrease the amount of theta waves and increase the other 2. That way we'll feel relaxed and we'll be able to concentrate. So, let's dive into the neurochemistry a bit. I was on NCBI and I noticed there was a study that spoke about what ends up happening when we take OPCs in this instance. And for this example, I'm going to focus on a supplement rich in OPCs that I have looked into called Grape Seed Extract. It's made up of the seeds of grapes and kind of smashed into a fine powder and put into a capsule. So, that's a really strong antioxidant. really strong antioxidant. And from a study I found on NCBI, it explained that consumption of GCE caused a regulation in dopamine, norepinephrine, serotonin, and interestingly enough, adrenaline. Or in this case, noted as epinephrine, just another name for it. So, we know from studies that people with ADHD lack a good amount of these neurotransmitters, i.e. serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. But, interestingly enough, I didn't really put much thought into adrenaline, or in this case, epinephrine. And I've noticed an even bigger sense of focus ever since I started taking grape seed extract. Now, I take grape seed extract towards the end of my medication. And the reason why I do this is because grape seed extract is really high in vitamin C. Now, vitamin C does not help stimulant medication for those of you who are taking ADHD medication. High levels of vitamin C are going to diminish the effects of stimulant medication. So I do not advise to take grapeseed extract at the same time that you take stimulant medication. Once again, I do not advise to take the two together, because the grapeseed extract is going to cancel out the effects of the stimulant medication due to the high levels of vitamin C. With that being said, though, when you do consume stimulant medication, and for those of us who take stimulant medication quite often, some of us might have lower levels of vitamin C and not even be aware of it. So what we can do is with grapeseed extract, if we take that, that helps revitalize the body's level of vitamin C and helps replenish and clean the body essentially with vitamin C. So it's a really strong antioxidant, which is going to help you fight off the oxidation of stimulant medication, because stimulant medication and continued stimulant medication usage is going to increase the oxidation in the body, which is going to have a lot of negative side effects. I take another supplement by the name of R-alpha lipoic acid for help with acetylcholine, another neurotransmitter that we have low levels of. And that is an extremely strong antioxidant, a different type of antioxidant, because there seems to be a different variety of sorts. So, going back to OPCs, I have noticed when I take grapeseed extract, a really big calming of the mind, an organizing of the thoughts. Not to say that the other supplements and medication I take doesn't do that, but with taking grapeseed extract, it brings almost like a childhood calmness I can't describe, that I haven't felt since before I went through puberty. So, I'm thinking it's because of the increase in alpha and beta waves and the decrease in theta waves. Because people with ADHD, our central nervous system is heightened. So it's easy to kind of get us irked, startled, upset, jolted, so to speak. Which is why a lot of people who have ADHD sometimes utilize booze, alcohol, to kind of slow down the central nervous system. And in the long run, that's not going to do any good. So, unfortunately, people self-medicate with different stuff a lot of the time, not knowing that, hey, it's an underlying cause I have from a condition that I'm trying to fix unknowingly. So, if you do feel like you have the condition, go ahead and get yourself evaluated, or watch a couple of videos, inform yourself, and then, take it from there. But, as I was saying, it seems that people with ADHD, we want to calm down that central nervous system a lot of the time. And I have seen and taken quite a bit of different supplements, and I want to share that grapeseed extract is a really solid supplement that has really calmed down the mind and relaxes the body, but not in a way that you're going to be just sitting there lazy. No. Because it relaxes the body as well. It brings a nice calm ease to the mind and calmness to the body as well. It also helps speaking. There's an increased capacity and fluidity of thought. similar to what I get from PS100, just in a stronger / calmer sense, kind of way. And I really appreciate that. It also helps out tremendously, I've noticed, with sleep as well. And I don't know what it is, but out of any other supplement I've taken, it seems to help prioritize, or help the mind prioritize decisions. Because before, I believe, due to the increase in theta waves, making a decision, especially when you have inattentive ADHD and you have 500 thoughts going through your mind at 500 miles an hour, so to speak, it's a little hard to kind of come up with a decision of, okay, I got to do this first, and boom, an intruding thought comes in. And then you kind of just have to go with the best thing, because a lot of the time we're in a hurry, right? So what you got to do is try to get that on check somehow. So in this instance, I've started taking Grape Seed Extract, and I've noticed a very, very good calming of the mind that helps me sleep, helps the chatter of the thoughts kind of relax a little bit. They're still there, don't get me wrong, and I like that. I like being able to think in that capacity and quickly, but I like to be able to organize my thoughts when I need to. And Grape Seed Extract really seems to be doing this. So, from research we have seen, this is from a 1998 study done, that with the consumption of OPCs, there's an increase in cognitive function, working memory, and brain activation. I don't think that's any coincidence. And Grape Seed Extract, or particularly OPCs, were recommended to me by somebody on Health Unlocked. They sent me a message and asked me what I thought about it. They found it in the book from an author, and I was like, Oligomeric poly what? I'd never heard of it. So that's what's beautiful about working in the ADHD community and seeing the ideas that a lot of you guys and other people out there have who really want to help the community out. So I love that. I love that there's new information and knowledge being shared to help each and every one of us out, because we deserve a break. We deserve help, and we deserve to be able to utilize our minds, our brains, and our bodies to a great capacity. Because we're definitely people of worth that can make a big difference in this world. I don't doubt that. Going back to what I was saying about adrenaline and how it is helped a bit by OPCs. So, in this case, Grape Seed Extract. What exactly does adrenaline do for the body, and how does that help out somebody with the condition? Adrenaline plays an important role in the fight or flight responses by increasing blood flow to the muscles, output to the heart, pupil dilation response, and blood sugar level. Now, when it comes to blood sugar levels, there is a really important video I want to do that deals with why some research says that inattentive ADHD is kind of a thing, or why ADHD might be more common than it otherwise would be in some people. Because ADHD, from research, it's starting to be shown that it's not all genetics. Because after researching, I'm starting to see that not all ADHD is caused primarily by genetics, meaning passed down from a parent or both parents. I'm starting to see that it also can be caused by what we eat or what we don't eat. Too much or too little of something. So, there's some interesting information that was sent to me that I want to share. There's this other researcher who put out some really interesting stuff, and it seems that the higher-ups in Big Pharma are not really happy with this individual, which usually means it's true, because Big Pharma, while it can be quite helpful, I'm sure is screwing over quite a bit of people. So, it's not what this video is about. I'm not going to give my opinion on that. But, yeah, when I saw the research from this person, I was amazed at first off, quality research that really went in depth. And then I noticed that, hey, there's a couple of hypotheses I had that the individual who did the research also had, and they just took it forward and went full on with it and took it to the next level and did their own thing and did a bunch of other things with that. So I was like, wow, I gotta share that with the ADHD community. I gotta condense that and make it short though, because there's a bunch of terminology, physiology, and unless you've been to a university or have taken a couple of courses in biology, psychology, physiology, it's going to be a little hard to follow. So I kind of want to make it, straightforward so we can talk about it just the same way we're talking here. We're out and start talking too much jargon and then lose half of you. So I'm going to have the other half of you commenting, telling me that I talk too slow. Or anything like that, which I don't mind. It's okay. We all got ADHD here. So I'm pretty sure with some of these in-depth subject matters I talk about, we kind of lose our sense of thought. And, it happens. It happens to me with a bunch of videos as well. So just trying to improve ourselves. Anyway, if you haven't taken a break from watching this video, now would be the time to do so. I'll be waiting right here until you're back. Okay, now that you're back, let's continue on with what we were saying. So, when somebody with ADHD needs to do something, we usually need to get ourselves pumped up to do it. How many people with ADHD, when they're going to go somewhere, let's say they make an appointment, and they tell their boss or somebody, okay, cool, I'll be there tomorrow by 2 p.m. And then what ends up happening the next day is that they're ready to leave at an adequate time, but they start watching a show, they start thinking about something, or looking at something, and boom, what ends up happening is their sense of time is hindered. Why? Because people with ADHD, there's a difficulty in perception of time. I have a video about that as well, if you want to check it out. So due to that difficulty in perception of time, or sometimes the lack of motivation due to not having dopamine increased, and the other neurotransmitters that follow, we don't have the motivation or drive to even leave when it's time to leave. So we're looking sometimes for us to feel that fight or flight, that, man, I need to leave now, otherwise I'm going to be screwed, I'm going to be fired. It needs to happen. What is that? To me, that sounds like we need an adrenaline kick. We need that rush of, man, we better haul ass. Like one of my childhood friends used to say, we better haul ass and get out of here as soon as possible. Otherwise, a really negative consequence is going to get. It's that fight or flight, that danger response that we need, the drive. I kid you not, when I was taking the test in class sometimes, I would zone out and I wouldn't start working on a long word problem of some sort until I felt like I didn't have enough time, so I can feel the rush of, okay, I got no choice. Now I got to do it. What's interesting is, after I started taking Grape Seed Extract, I've been doing stuff more on time. I've been arriving, dare I say this, early to certain places. And that's something worth sharing, I believe. Which is why I wanted to share that with you guys. So, I think it's a great supplement. And for those parents or individuals that don't want to take stimulant medication, I think it's a pretty solid supplement that, if paired with perhaps a few other supplements, would be sufficient for the parent that doesn't want their kid to take stimulant medication, or for the parents that want to wait until their kids are teenagers. So it's a pretty helpful supplement that really eases off the mind. Now, a word of caution, with the increase in adrenaline that comes from this, it's not a massive increase. I don't want you guys to think that, it's going to turn into some crazy action movie where you're going to get wired and start like lifting up cars. No, it's not like that. It's a very calming supplement that is going to help you relax the mind. It's going to help you calm your thoughts to be able to make better decisions. And it's going to also help you to sleep. It's going to fight the oxidation of stimulant medication, and it's going to fight oxidation anyway that we get from just being alive, because you don't need to take stimulant medication to get oxidation. It just happens for various reasons. So it's a great supplement and a great starting supplement for somebody who hasn't taken one and would like to take one. Why? Because it works with a good gamut of because it works with a good amount of the neurotransmitters that we lack: dopamine, norepinephrine, serotonin, and in this case, it works particularly with adrenaline. So it's very interesting what that does when you take that. So what I do is that once the stimulant medication wears off, I will take Grape Seed Extract, and it very much helps to eliminate the crash in the same way that N-acetyltyrosine, a dopamine norepinephrine supplement, does. So it's a really helpful supplement that has really helped calm the body and calm the mind. I didn't realize how much I lacked that sort of drive, so to speak. So just a hypothesis. It could perhaps be the reason why some of us with ADHD need to wait until the last minute so we feel that rush of, oh my god, if I don't do this, I am screwed beyond all reason. It seems some of us need to feel that in order to do something, but that can become pretty unnerving. That can get us fired, that can get us in trouble, and that can get people very mad at us. So rather than going through those things, you might want to give this supplement a try. You might want to give some of the other supplements out there a try. When you have ADHD, there's multiple neurotransmitters that are low for various reasons, whether it be gene mutations or any of the other common reasons associated with neurochemistry problems. So I have another video particularly on the neurotransmitters people with ADHD have trouble with, and that video also talks about supplements. So if you want to check that out, I highly recommend it. But as for today, and as for Grape Seed Extract, that's all I got for today. I really recommend it for those of you who want to try it out. Try it at your own expense. It's a pretty solid supplement and one I plan on continuing to take. So I hope this video helped you learn a little something. I hope you were able to pay attention, and if you had problems paying attention, I would recommend to watch the whole video again or watch back from the part that you stopped paying attention from. And if you don't know where that is, just watch the whole video again. So anyway, this is Wilhelm, your ADHD comrade, over and out. Take it easy, y'all.